Hi, I'm Nick, and this is the Thrive After 40 podcast, where we talk about all things health and fitness for women over 40. Today we are looking at, or talking about, snacking. Is snacking helpful, or is it a silent saboteur? We're going to look at what snacking actually is, why it's detrimental, why it can be really helpful, and what we can do about it if it's detrimental and it's actually sabotaging our goals. What snacking actually is. Snacking, we kind of all feel that snacking is something to be guilty about. It's something wrong, it's a lack of willpower, we're falling off plan. It's something that we do when we are on our own and we're reaching for snacks. But snacking is simply eating between meals. That's what it is, it's eating between meals. It doesn't have to be detrimental and it doesn't have to carry guilt. It can be planned and supportive. It can actually be a really useful tool to help you stay on track rather than falling off track. It's why you're doing it and what it's replacing that I think is the biggest thing we need to look at. Is like why you're snacking, what you're snacking on, and what are the feelings involved with those snacks. So why do we reach for snacks? This is where it gets interesting, especially for women after 40, because there's so many reasons why we snack. It's not just because, or it's rarely even because we want the thing that we're reaching for. Sometimes you are generally hungry. You are actually physically hungry. Maybe your meals are too small, you're not eating enough protein, you're not eating enough fibre, you're not drinking enough, you are leaving it too long in between your meals. So you might be genuinely hungry, which is why you're reaching for the snacks. You feel tired. This is a big one, which I think a lot of people overlook, is that they're tired and then they crave something sugary. They crave something in the afternoons. It's generally because you're tired and your body needs quick energy, so you crave for something to eat. And that's what it is. So it might be that if you get a little bit more sleep, you won't be craving so much, therefore you won't snack so much. You're stressed. Emotional regulation, comfort, habit loop after work, like all of these things are a massive factor in snacking. Eating can be a massive outlay for emotion, both ways. You know, when we're happy, we also want to eat, but most likely it's because you're stressed, and it's just something to help you regulate that stress. Boredom. Often we're not hungry, not stressed, not tired or anything, we're just bored. We're grazing, we're picking, standing at the fridge with the open door, we're just bored. You've been overly restrictive with your diet, so you've restricted and restricted and restricted, and then you've completely fallen off the wagon and now you're eating everything in sight. You've been underfueling for a long time, and you can underfuel for a period of time, but then you just get so miserable that then you go the other way and eat way too much. So when snacking becomes detrimental, when it's a problem, is if it replaces proper meals, if it's mindless, we don't even realise we're doing it, it's constant. Like you're constantly snacking throughout the day, but you don't actually eat a proper dinner or lunch. It's driven by emotion. So when you get upset, you reach for something to eat. It's not about the eating, it's about the emotion behind the eating, the trigger. It can lead to us feeling out of control and guilty. And, you know, then once we feel out of control and guilty, then we're likely to go into this negative spiral of just basically self-sabotage. And then it becomes the reason you're not seeing progress. So if you skip breakfast or you don't eat breakfast, generally you start snacking about 11 o'clock because you're hungry. If lunch is light or there's no protein, by 4 o'clock, you're reaching for the snacks. This is where I see in most people, they aren't eating enough protein at breakfast and lunch, and then it's a free-for-all in the afternoon and the evening. They're not sleeping well enough, so they get to 4 p.m. in the afternoon, they have that massive slump, and then they want to snack. It's a loop that I myself find myself in. If I don't sleep very well, I generally want to have something to eat in the afternoons. We can break snacking down into 3 different categories. Supportive snacking. This is a snack that you do mindfully. that is supporting your overall diet. So if it's something like yogurt and fruit, or apple and peanut butter, boiled eggs in between meetings, these things are purposeful, they're planned, they help performance, they stop you from feeling hungry, they increase your protein levels, they can increase your fiber levels. This is supportive. This helps you on your journey long term. Neutral snacking, so it's not a problem, it's part of life. It might be that you go to meet a friend for coffee and you have a slice of cake. You go around to a friend's house for a cup of tea and they offer you a biscuit. It's the type of snacking that you do in day-to-day life as part of a social circle, but it's not necessarily detrimental long term. It's a one-off. We do it every now and again. It's not every day. We're not every day we're eating biscuits with tea. We're not every day eating slices of cake with our coffee. It's part of life, and I think those kind of snacks should be embraced, and I don't think you should feel guilty about those, because at the end of the day, you need to have a life, and you don't want it to be miserable the whole time. The snacking that sabotages us is when we stand in the kitchen picking, if we're picking off of somebody else's leftovers, or we stand in the corner of the kitchen scrolling on our phone, eating snacks without really thinking about it. You don't even taste it. It's just something that you just do. Finishing children's leftovers, or raiding the fridge at 9 o'clock at night. This is where we want to bring some awareness to the snacks. Why are we doing it? Why are we picking late at night? Why are we snacking while scrolling? Are we actually hungry? Are we bored? Are we emotional? That's the type of snacking that we need to try and limit, because it's the type of snacking that's going to be detrimental long term. So how do we stop the snacking that we don't want? If you had a bucket and it had a hole in it and it was leaking all over the floor, and you just kept mopping up the floor, you'll just be mopping up the floor, but you need to fix the hole to stop the bucket leaking all over the floor. So yes, we do need to mop up the floor, so we do need to stop the snacking, but we also need to know why we're snacking in the first place. So it might be that we identify the triggers. Why are we snacking? Are we hungry? Are we tired? Are we stressed? Are we bored? When we realise what it is, why we're snacking, then we can have a look at addressing that. So by building proper meals, if we are actually hungry, we need to make sure we have 25 to 40 grams of protein per meal, fibre with every meal, carbohydrates and fats. You should be hitting around 100 to 120 grams of protein per day. It might be that you have protein snacks. That's absolutely fine. But you need to have proper meals, because when you're eating proper meals, the likelihood of you wanting to snack in between meals is much, much less. Eat earlier in the evening, eat earlier in the day. Eat a proper breakfast, eat a proper lunch, and then have a proper dinner, but earlier in the day. Don't skip breakfast and then snack at 11 o'clock, and then you're not hungry for lunch. And then you're snacking at 4 o'clock, but then you're not hungry for dinner. So then dinner's really late. Who wants to be cooking dinner really late? So try and eat all day. Plan your breakfast if it's difficult to get breakfast made in the morning. Maybe have a protein shake or a smoothie rather than having something to actually physically eat. Try upgrading your snacks. So if you're going to snack, if it's something that you want to do, try having a high protein snack. Make it plated and you sit down and you eat it properly so you notice it, rather than you just picking at something whilst you're doing the housework. Make it much more mindful. Think about what you're eating. Think about the taste of it, the texture, the smell. Notice it. Notice your food. Create a kitchen close. Like at the end of the day, have something where you close your kitchen. You shut your kitchen down. Might be after dinner you brush your teeth. You have a herbal tea and then leave the kitchen. You turn the lights off, you shut the door. It's just a simple environmental cue that kitchen is shut. We're not going back in there again. I think it's important to think that snacking isn't necessarily a villain. I think like I said at the beginning, we always think, oh, snacking is detrimental, all snacking is detrimental, but it actually isn't. Undereating, stress, poor sleep and lack of structure are generally the reasons why we snack, and we need to address those before we can address the snacking. It's not generally about willpower, because willpower is never around when we need it. It's not just having more willpower, it's actually making a situation that it's easy for us to not snack. Once that's fixed, it will all kind of settle down quite naturally. Your lifestyle might be chaotic, your sleep might be patchy, your meals might be inconsistent. Fix those and snacking will generally sort itself out. So, quick summary. Why are you snacking? What is the reason for it? Have a think about, are you hungry? Do you want this because you're hungry? Do you want it because you're tired? Do you want it because you are craving something? Do you want it because you are stressed or emotional? Does it just look and taste and smell really nice? That might be it. If it just looks and tastes and smells really nice and you just want it, then that's fine. But once you start realising your triggers, then you can put things in place to change them. Trying to change them without addressing the triggers. It's the same with any kind of emotional eating. The triggers come first and then we address the eating, not the other way around. So that's it for me today. Thank you for listening. I hope you found today's episode helpful and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, maybe you have a friend that snacks way too much or feels that snacking is detrimental, please share it with them. And don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss another episode. I will see you next time.